All right, man, peace. So, brothers, WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder stopped by the Rachel Nichols show to talk basketball and also, of course, to promote his soon-to-be heavyweight title bout against Tyson Fury. And I thought that this segment was very interesting because we got a chance to see him stand next to Paul Pierce and instruct him on certain aspects of boxing. And, of course, that was able to establish exactly how big Deontay Wilder is because, remember, Paul Pierce was a professional basketball player who went about 6'7", 6'7" and a half. So, of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Going toe-to-toe with Tyson Fury,
I am not
1st.
sparring with this guy. Stop it. I need to look.
Let me plug the fight first. He's going toe-to-toe with Tyson Fury.
They look like cousins.
Fury, December 1st, right across the street from here at the Staples Center. It'll be live on Showtime, pay-per-view. And look, we were just talking during the break. Yeah, they're already getting into it. Paul is a huge fight fan. We heard that you were going to be in town. We had to bring you on because I know you're a big basketball fan, so we had to do a little exchange here. How do you prep for a fight like this?
I mean, you just have to, for me, it's all about the mentality, the mindset. You know, I like to get my mindset for a fight, and I prepare it. You know, I'm a type of person.
Visualize?
I use visualization with meditation.
All great athletes utilize visualization and meditation techniques. All great athletes do that. Now, you have some athletes who start to delve into Luciferianism or what they call transcendental meditation, like Tom Brady does that, in which he can take his consciousness to a whole other level.
You know, so visualizing myself.
And every once in a while, when you have elite level athletes, they're able to go into what they call the zone, where they're not fully conscious of their surroundings because their brain is able to focus on the task at hand with so much clarity and sharpness that they can actually tune out any form of distraction around them.
So either in the dressing room, going out into the tunnel, coming out into the ring, you know, how I want to knock my opponent out. What are the things I want to see myself in the ring? So in reality, when it does happen, it's almost like cheating.
Right.
It's almost like I've been there before, and here it is. So this is something, a little science to the madness of why I'm 40 and over 39 KOs.
Yeah. There's also some fists involved in why you are 39 KOs. Also, do you get in basketball? I mean, is that?
That's unprecedented. That's
right.
that's like the '60s Celtics.
I know.
Dominant. You know what I mean? All knockouts except for one. Everybody's excited about.
This brother's just a brawler. He's a brawler who boxes. And there's nothing against Deontay, but I've always stated this. He has the appropriate last name, Wilder, because he's very wild in the ring. The thing with him, though, is that he is an excellent natural athlete. And the fact of the matter is that for the most part in the heavyweight division, there are not that many great natural athletes. There are not that many fighters that he's going to face that are going to be 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", that are as coordinated as he is. And that's an advantage that he has when he steps into the ring. That's why his fight against Tyson Fury is going to be very interesting, because even though Fury is a bit awkward, he does move relatively well. Even though he's not that coordinated, he does move relatively well for a man his size. But just to get back to what I was touching on, to meditate and to be focused is not necessarily Luciferianism. But there are many athletes that delve into a lot of the Oriental ideologies. When I say Oriental, I mean Far Eastern, like India and so on and so forth. And they deal with a lot of the Buddhist principles that allow them to ascend to a higher level of consciousness, and will put them in the position where they can focus to the point where they can literally see things happening before they actually happen.
About this fight with Fury, I know I'm excited. I always like seeing you get in the ring, but just to be an American heavyweight, we haven't had that American champ in so long, and you represent that for us as a boxing fan myself. Now, I know you're gonna get past Fury, but we want to see you unify that belt. I know that's coming, so we're gonna take care.
Well, that's what this fight is actually about, Paul Pierce. They're going to deny it, but the reason why Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are fighting this match is to put the heat on Anthony Joshua and put him in such a precarious position that it's going to be obvious to everyone who's viewing that he is ducking.
Take care of business this one.
I these
and
guys
then we're
already.
going to see what's on the plate. Because we're going to bring these belts together. I say we because he represents me as an American. So that's why I say we. And I'm behind you. So
we window shopping. It's okay to do that.
It's all right, but we're going to take care of this business first. That's right. And we got bigger business after that, but let's keep our eyes on the prize.
I want to know, as I said, we knew Paul was going to be here today, so we were thrilled you could come because we know how he feels.
I'll be at the fight. I'll be there.
But Paul's not the only one. I feel like the NBA and the fight community, there is like, so you see players at these big fights all the time. Why do you...
Well, that's always been the case. That's going all the way back to pretty much the inception of championship level boxing. And the reason why other professional athletes, they love to attend boxing matches and combat sports is because, once again, combat sports is the quintessence of any form of athletic endeavor. Basically, basketball and football and baseball, those are watered down microcosms of what combat sports represent, which is us against you. When you see Boston Celtics versus LA Lakers, what's implied there is conflict. Well, boxing and MMA, they're like conflict sports with no chaser. There's no watering down there. So that's why other athletes, they love to attend boxing matches and MMA and things of that nature. Walt Frazier was at the first Ali-Frazier fight. And of course, Walt Frazier, he was not a relation of Joe Frazier. They just happened to have the same last name, but he was there. Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, they used to attend Mike Tyson fights all throughout the 80s. As a matter of fact, you can go and watch a fight that Floyd Mayweather had. I think it was against Sean Bay Mitchell in Portland. And Michael Jordan was there in the audience. That was at the time where he was trying to make Floyd Mayweather a member of Jordan Brand.
Why do you think NBA players are so hyped about watching these guys?
Because it's just the sport of boxing. It's just like, we play a team sport, but this is a more difficult sport. You're an individual. You're the only one out there. There's no one else to blame.
Absolutely. Even though some boxers try to blame the trainers.
And it's just like, we're in all of that.
Right.
It's just a battle. It's like Gladiator, and it's like with the gloves, and it's just like we embrace that. As a in my community, you had to go up fighting with your hands, and so now you can see it organized, and somebody who represents us as an American, you get behind that.
By the way, we showed you detail the tape a minute ago. 6'7". What did you say?
Look at this, man. Look at this. Get the camera, man.
Right?
And he said I could be a sparring partner.
Yeah, they're about the exact same height. They're both about 6'7".
I need this look. I don't want look at this. I don't want no action. Look at that. Look at that.
If you don't want no action, Paul Pierce, you should not put your hands up. Don't put your hands up with a professional fighter. That's when them reflexes kick in. You saw what Deontay did to that mascot on that other ESPN channel. Knocked him smooth out, broke his jaw.
Look at that.
This is how you spread your wing. You see your wingspan right now? Show me your wingspan. And it's a lot longer than that. You know why? Because there you go. Right you want your navel to point in that direction, your pointer right here.
This
and
is
if you
good.
have it like this, there's no way. So it's going from right here to right here. Look at the extension. Right. So when you like even right here,
He's not gonna hit you. He's just trying to show you something.
you're in position like I thought you said it's we're a team.
By the way, when Deontay walked in here, Paul's like, look at us, we're the same height. He could play basketball, and I tell you guys, show up and show how tall you are. Now you're teaching him boxing. That was not the direction this was supposed to go. I do want you to talk about basketball.
Paul Pierce was like, don't hit a man with glasses.
Basketball for a minute, because since we have you here, we want to show you some recent basket brawls. Now, we're not really showing NBA because this doesn't happen in the NBA anymore.
Now, unfortunately, this interview happened before the Chris Paul versus Rajon Rondo fight.
Anymore. That era is over.
Allegedly, it's over.
So we got to go to international ball, and you can attempt to break them down for us. First, this is just this past Monday.
What did the hand say to the face?
LaMelo Ball slapping an opponent in the face. Your thoughts on the slap?
Oh man, that was like, man, don't touch me, bro.
Let me say this. LaMelo Ball is going to have to show a lot of growth as a basketball player to ever get the opportunity to play in the NBA. Not only because of the overall energy around his father, but also around both of his brothers. The Ball family, they're considered pretty much persona non grata in the NBA, particularly the other two sons. It's very obvious. And Alonzo, as I've stated in other videos, he's the only hope for their family to truly excel in the NBA, because I don't think that LaMelo's ever going to really get a shot. We know that LiAngelo is never going to get a shot because, let's be quite frank, he's not good enough to play in the NBA. And from what I see from LaMelo, I'm not quite sure if he's ever going to get a shot because he seems to be a marginal player, a player who does not quite understand how to involve his teammates. And in the NBA right now, you have to understand how to play without the basketball to truly be successful. And from what I've seen from him, he's probably going to be a part of his father's league for the duration, even though that move that the NBA made to empower their D-League players is going to provide so much competition for the JBA that I'm not quite sure how long it's going to last.
Bro, he tried to sun him there by putting his hand on his head, so he got the stop.
Right?
I mean, I feel you, Melo. He just put his hand on your head like, come on, little kid. Little kid, take that. Right, he ain't going to take that.
Well,
right.
You know. You're not playing, you're fighting. Next up, this past summer, a brawl broke out. This was amazing. I think we played this on the show like 3 days in a row because it was summer and it's also amazing. Australia and the Philippines. Flying kicks. Look at this, flying kicks. A chair was thrown.
Right here,
look at that. Jump in. He like got a running start.
NBA players can't fight. Like, look at this.
Well, there have been some NBA players that could fight. Alvin Robertson could fight. Calvin Murphy from way back in the day, he could fight. There have been some guys that could fight. Rick Mahorn could fight.
These were some NBA players.
NBA players can't. You go in that reckless. I mean, oh my God. That's why you see chairs thrown. NBA players can't fight.
Right.
Isaiah Thomas on the Detroit Pistons, he could fight too. He went toe to toe with Bill Cartwright. Now Isaiah Thomas is 6 feet, maybe 6 feet and a half. I definitely don't think that he's 6'1". He's about 6 feet and a half on a good day. And he squared up with Bill Cartwright, who went about 7 feet, 7'1".
Right?
I mean, come on, because think about it. They grow up the biggest guy in their class all their life. Like, who's going to challenge that? So, just to be putting their hands up versus somebody, I'm telling you, half these guys, 99% of these guys in the NBA.
What did you think of the flying kick? How did you rate that?
Man, he's been watching some type of martial art. He probably watched that movie before he did that. He came back,
Now, as I said, we're going to show this one more time because we
can. How you supposed to put your hands up? You don't go in here and just jump into the crowd. That's what I'm saying. Why everybody jumping? Like, they gotta.
The problem with basketball fights is that two guys never just fight and square up. It always becomes these brawls, man. It's just be like hockey. Like that Rajon Rondo, Chris Paul thing. They should just let them square up for 30 seconds. And they would have let out all their anger, and that would have been that.
It's like it was contagious to jump.
Look at this. The missed punches on this are unbelievable.
Yeah, this is why basketball fights, they always just become so dangerous because they just spill over. Because all these guys always jump in, and they're always sucker punching each other.
Who's this from?
This is Philippines and Australia, but you do have some NBA players.
Look at this guy. Hit dude in the back of the head with a chair.
Players mixed in here, and the chair was. He's like, where'd it go? Who did that? Who did that?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, someone being brave from the audience. And then of course they got the fists up with the fighting. As I said, the NBA is not a fighting league anymore, and the problem is when someone even starts to,
it gets broken up.
Last season, Arron Afflalo throwing the punch.
This was the biggest fight in the league.
Bielitsa.
Oh, if you had to connect
right?
it, though.
Bielitsa put him in the headlock. Right? With this.
Good job by Bielitsa. He had pretty good reflexes. He weaved that.
Right?
Right there. Right there.
Good defense or bad offense? What do we think here?
How'd he miss? That big shoulder, though. He put that shoulder on.
That's exactly what he did. He put that big shoulder in front. He weaved it.
Yeah, there you go.
That shoulder.
My man Bielitsa rolled with the punch.
The shoulder.
What you looking for, man?
You put that shoulder on.
The protector guard up there.
Right.
And then put him in that old man. He put him in that Nolan Ryan headlock. Go back and look at that fight Nolan Ryan had with Robin Ventura back in the day. Me and my pops to this day, we still talk about that shit. That happened 25 years ago. Old man Nolan Ryan, damn near 50 years old, squared up with Robin Ventura. I think it was the White Sox and the Rangers. Robin Ventura tried to bum rush the mound, and Nolan Ryan put him in a headlock and just hit him with about 10 noogies on the top of the head.
Yeah, that shoulder don't come up, his head come off.
But how you miss and get in the headlock, though?
See, they not
That's what I'm saying. He was totally off balance. He put him in that old man headlock.
professional. I told you, NBA players can't fight. They swing and it just...
Which, by the way, is better for the game. It is better than in the NBA.
It's much better, and I'm happy that Rachel Nichols stated that. Because a lot of these NBA players, they watch these shows and they constantly get mocked with the hold me back stuff and all these guys can't fight and they don't really want to fight. And then when real fights happen, all these same pundits are like, oh my goodness, this is terrible for the league. But you were the same people who were challenging the manhood of all these players before. So what do you expect?
NBA, punching, whatever. I mean, you know, we saw how it used to be, right? We remember all of this. You don't want my...
I remember this. This is when Reggie Miller, he kept trying to push Jordan that whole game. And then he finally pushed him in the back, and then they end up approaching each other. But they were both cognizant of the fact to not throw punches, even though Jordan threw a punch. Jordan was supposed to get kicked out of this game. They only kicked Miller out for being the instigator. And then Jordan went on to score 40 points.
You don't want Michael Jordan's face broken. You don't want Reggie Miller. Like, this is not...
to rip his face off.
Right? And then you go way back. I mean, we almost had a...
That was a crazy clothesline. That shit was crazy.
A deadly incident, right, with the Celtics Lakers. So I just, you know.
Look at these two big boys.
Yeah, them two shadow boxing.
This is a heavyweight match right here.
Look at this nonsense. Shadow boxing, totally out of range. Got no chance of hitting each other.
Nobody hit nobody.
I don't care what nobody said. Charles Barkley won this fight. He took down a 320-pound man like he was nothing, and then got some blows in.
By the way,
look at that. Chuck landed some right hooks on Shaq's head.
Right, that last clip of Shaq and Chuck, you can just see that on TNT Thursday nights, so it's all good. Deontay, thank you so much for stopping by and joining us.
November 1st at the Staples.
December 1st, baby.
December 1st.
You can also come November 1st and just get ready, but December 1st against Tyson Fury and on Showtime. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Best of luck to you coming up for all.
Yes, best of luck to Deontay Wilder in his bout. We'll see what happens. And hopefully, should he be victorious, he'll get the fight with Anthony Joshua. So peace.